Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys have been well. So today we'll be making this card. So I have done it as part of the Kylie Demo blog hop. So welcome those that have come from the blog. Those that have come from Pinterest or any other avenues, welcome as well. And also a big thank you, shout out to my returning viewers. So we'll be using the Tasteful Touches bundle today. So I've got this and I've used it a couple of times, but I really wanted to challenge myself to use it with this card. So just bring out my foam mat and I'm going to be stamping the flower in this stamp set, plus that little leaf branch thing. So whatever you call it. So I've got a couple of pre-made masks. So I just cut them out, I stamped them and fussy cut them out on some post-it notes. So just really simple masking today, nothing too fancy, but you will need 2 of those masks. So bringing out the I've got Blushing Bride and Pear Pizzazz. These 2 are just so beautiful together. So I've used that for my colour scheme today. So I'm just going to stamp the flower. I'm going to have 2 on the top left corner and then 1 on the bottom right. So once I've stamped them, I'm just going to let it dry. I didn't want it to smudge, so you see me fanning it with my hands, and then I'll just put that mask on top and position this so I kind of want it to look like it's as if it's a bit behind that first flower. Okay, so that looks good, and then I'm going to flip the paper around and do the last flower just over there. So then we'll take off the mask, and that's how it's going to look. So then I'm going to bring out the branch leaf sprig. Is that what you call it? But I am putting away this, closing up the ink pad, because I've said it before, I get ink all over my fingers and I end up smudging and ruining my projects. So just bring the mask back down, and I want to cover those 2 because I'll be doing stamping that sprig on the right hand corner. So dab, 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 and then just pressing it down. So you can use these masks quite a few times, just as long as it sort of still sticks. And because it's post-it note, it peels off very easily without ruining the paper, so which is fantastic. I'm just going to flip this around as well, just to make it easier for myself. And again, just sort of positioning that, and then when I'm happy, stamp. So a really simple card today, and I did case this, well, not so much case it, but I did get inspiration from the catalogue. So if you can guess what page the picture I took for my inspiration, let me know in the comments if you know what page it is, and I'll let you know if you're right. It's in the annual catalogue as well, guys, so just a little hint there. Okay, so what I will bring in next is my baggie of sentiments. So I have these pre-cut, so when I'm feeling a little bit short of time, or I don't feel like making a card, I'll actually just run a whole heap of dies using the Tasteful labels dies, just to cut up pre-cut some sentiment labels and have them ready, so that when I need to make a card, it does save me a lot of time, and I can sort of see, like in this case, see which one fit the best. So and it's also a good way to use up scraps as well, so you don't have the scrap store, you can just pre-cut them and actually have them ready to use. So I'm just going to stamp my sentiment piece now, and I'm going to bring out the crumb cake. Love this beautiful neutral colour, and it does match the ribbon that I do use later on. And I'm actually using the sentiment from the Paper Pumpkin Box of Sunshine kit that got released in Australia just a few weeks ago. If you don't have one already, oh, you really need to get one. I absolutely love it, and I love the sentiments on it. So the one I use for today's card is a little something to brighten up your day, and who doesn't need some sunshine to brighten up your day? So a great kit, and highly recommend that you get it. So I'm just stamping that there now, and then I'm going to bring in some ribbon I have from it's part of the boho product medley. So it's got a bit of a gold stitching, it's a nice neutral colour, and that goes well with the crumb cake. So I am bringing in my special scissors I use just for ribbon, so I don't get them too blunt, and I do have them a different colour so I don't confuse myself, because I get easily confused. So I'm going to use my Seal Plus to stick the ribbon onto my sentiment. So I'm just going to flip that around. So I'm just going to bring in my Seal Plus. I love the stuff. It's fantastic for sticking on ribbon. And the little trick is just to give it a bit of flick at the end, and that'll stop any issues that people may have. So I love my Seal Plus. And it's quite easy to use, and so I'm just going to bring in my scissors here to trim off the ends, make that even and nice and neat. And I'm about to stick that on with dimensionals, and I'm thinking, hang on, I feel like it's missing something. So I'm bringing out my little bag of goodies. This is from the Boho Indigo dies. So I had some pre-cut pieces, making the most of my paper. If I want to use it to matte and you're not going to see anything in the middle, I'm going to use that middle bit and just pre-cut some dies. And I love the Boho Indigo dies, so I always have, a lot of them on hand, and I'm loving that now. So just bringing in my liquid glue to stick that on before I stick my sentiment piece on. So just a little bit goes a long way, but you'll see on the second piece I probably didn't put quite enough, and I accidentally moved it before it had a chance to sort of stick. So I've smeared the glue everywhere, and I'm going to have to glue that on. But that's okay, we'll cover that with the sentiment piece, so it won't really matter too much. So I'm going to actually put that onto dimensionals, but before I do, I'm actually going to stick it onto my card bases. It makes it a lot easier for me. So just using the bone folder there to give my edge a nice crisp edge, and then I'll stick my card base on with my liquid glue. So love the liquid glue. I can't stick things on straight, so this is perfect for me to help me line it up so it looks nice and even. So we're just going to stick that on. See, I know it kind of looks funny now, but once we have the sentiment piece, trust me, it's going to look good. We're going to cover up that middle bit, okay? I'm looking now going, ugh. So I'm just bringing my dimensionals, and I want to use about 4 dimensionals just to make sure we don't get any saggy bits, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be posting this out. So once that's glued on, you'll see how good it's going to look. So just making sure I center this up, and I've stuck it down, and I've looked at it and gone, hang on, that's not centered. I was going to rip it off, and then I'm like, oh, you know what, it's okay. And then, you know what, I was like, nah, the perfectionist in me just couldn't handle it. I couldn't deal. It was just too much to the right. So you know what, I kept it in. I thought, look, we all make mistakes. It's just it's whether you can fix it or not. So I've managed to not rip anything off, and it's now more in the center. And I can breathe a sigh of relief. I'm much more happier with that positioning. So I'm bringing out my champagne gems. So that goes quite well with the Blushing Bride. So I'm just going to bring out my X-Acto knife. I know this is freaky, but this is the best way I like to put on my gems. But be very careful. I mean, you don't poke yourself, but I just find it's a lot easier for me. So I did put that little gem to cover off a little bit of stamping that I didn't quite get. So you know what, no such thing as a mistake. It's just an embellishment opportunity, I remember once saying. So I've got a bigger gem here, and then I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to swap this around because I haven't quite covered off that little mistake there. So I'm going to swap that and use the bigger gem, and that looks heaps better. So I'm just trying to cover that up, and no one will ever know that I missed a little spot. So I thought, let's just do the card insert whilst we have all our supplies out. So I'm going to bring in a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm bringing my black matte, and then I'm just going to bring back the stamp set and the same colours, Peppers as. I thought I'll do a little sprig first, and I thought, hang on, no, what I will actually do is I'm going to stamp my little pink flower first. So I'm just going to bring in a piece of scrap paper, and so literally it was just a scrap or something. It was the invoice for my Stampin' Up order that I got recently. So I decided I was going to stamp the sprig, and I thought, hang on, no, what I want to do is actually have the sprig in the background. So I'm bringing in the Blushing Bride, and I'm actually going to stamp the flower first because I'm just going to reuse the mask that we had. So I'm just stamping that on the bottom right hand corner, and then I'll bring in my mask, and I'll then do the sprig. So lucky I was quick enough that it was still, the ink was still wet, so I could stamp that. And then I'm just going to stamp a little bit on that on the other side of the flower, and voila, there you go. So I thought, perfect. So I've started to close it up, and I want to glue that into the middle on that card base, sorry. So again, out with the liquid glue. So there's those dimensional backings. I don't know, let me know in the comments below where you guys, what weird places do you find the backing of your dimensionals. Like in my previous video, I find them all over my house, even though I do clean up and put them straight into the bin, but we get that occasional flyaway piece that somehow manages to take a trip somewhere and find itself in the house. And you know what? I thought I'm gonna get myself organized. I'm gonna do the envelope as well whilst I'm here. So I probably should have done that before when I was stamping the inserts, but you know what? It's not too bad. So I've brought my envelope out, and again, I'm using the same sort of masking technique that I did for the card insert. I'm actually going to mask that bit as well. So I've used this post-it note I don't know how many times now, but you can reuse it, so it's worth that time to fussy cut that out, and it wasn't even that hard to begin with. So I've done my envelope, and there you go, that's the matching envelope. So isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so I'm really happy with that. So now we've got a matching set, and that looks gorgeous. And I'm going to put away that mask piece and reuse it for the next project. Thank you everyone for watching this video. And if you did like the video, please give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit the subscribe and leave me a comment. I would love to hear your feedback. Until next time, everyone, see you later and stay safe. Bye.